What's up guys, Mickle here, and a narrative we have been hearing about for a while now is the big banks, the big institutions want to kill off the cryptocurrency sector. In this video, I want to provide a counter argument to that idea. I want to go over some shocking new evidence we just got out of JP Morgan involving their involvement with the company Ripple and XRP. In this video, we're going to talk about that, and I want to show you a shocking video that's really going to make it clear that these big banks actually need cryptocurrency. Right now, we are just watching a phase where they are trying to take over as much of the industry as possible. Towards the end of the video, I also want to show you some very exciting new news involving John Deaton. It looks like he might actually get called to testify in front of a congressional committee. Make sure to stick around for that. This is very exciting. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Make sure if you haven't already, you like this video and subscribe to the channel. It's going to help me out so much and help this channel grow into the future. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP or the Flare token, make sure to check out my favorite exchange up pulled down in the description of this video. With that said though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So I want to start out this video and actually share with you guys a clip that I saw earlier today that's going to really go against a narrative we have been hearing for a while now, which is that the big banks and the big institutions want to kill off cryptocurrencies. After I play you this video, I want to really just break down for you guys why I don't think these big banks and big institutions are going to be able to kill off the cryptocurrency sector, and more importantly, why they're not going to be able to build it themselves. I want to start off though and just show you this clip because it's going to give you a good basis for exactly what we're going to talk about later in this video, and it's going to show you that these big banks and big institutions have their eye on this industry, and it's going to be absolutely critical for their survival into the future. Listen up closely to this and then we'll break it down.
We're also about to see massive changes in the $23 trillion world of big finance. In the months ahead, central banks around the world are planning to go digital. Many of the legacy banks you've heard of, where you probably even keep your money, like Bank of America, Chase, Citi, Wells Fargo, they're about to be reset, overhauled by a new type of technology called fintech, which is short for financial technology.
Yeah, can I ask you, what exactly does that mean for the banks and all of us, you and me?
Essentially, it means the function of our banks is about to change. They probably won't raise public suspicion about it by changing the signs on your bank's branches, but according to my sources, the Federal Reserve will soon own all the banks, and your local branch, it's simply going to be like a licensee of the Fed. In other words, the banking infrastructure is being rebuilt from the ground up, and very few Americans are aware this is even happening. We are right on the verge of a once-in-a-generation opportunity to profit by investing in the companies that are building out the architecture for this massive shift. Put simply, financial technology is revolutionizing the $23 trillion old guard banking industry. You see, over the past 3 years, while the total value of U.S. bank stocks has slid by 30%, the total value of fintech stocks has increased by 272%. This chart shows the early stages of this huge distortion in action.
It's amazing. Why don't we hear about this shift in the news? I mean, this seems to me like it should be a front page story.
I totally agree. But yeah, I got to remember, the central banks and the folks on Wall Street, they want to keep this transformation under wraps for as long as they possibly can.
So they can get in front of it first.
Of course. And to avoid panic. This reset will be a huge shock when Americans catch on. That's why the average person won't hear a word about the story until it's obvious to just about everyone. And by then, it's going to be too late.
Yeah, the profits will be gone.
Right, the same way it works with any world-changing investment story. That's why if you're going to invest, I'd recommend you do it right now, today. And I found a small company at the center of it all. They're building the bridge between the legacy banking world and a new financial system. This firm recently bought the assets and the intellectual property to build what could become one of America's first government-accepted stablecoin networks, a project that they aim to launch before the end of 2022.
Nomi, if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying this small firm you're talking about intends to modernize the financial system with the support of the U.S. government?
That's exactly right, Chris. And that's why I expect that this company is going to become the leading firm powering the global payment system going forward. It has the intellectual property, technology, and the engineering expertise to launch a global payment system that handles every single currency from every country, that's going to be faster, easier, and more cost-effective than every existing solution.
So the caption on that video was, "It sounds like she's talking about Ripple and XRP." Maybe she was, maybe she wasn't, but that's not even the main point here. She makes it extremely clear, and I completely agree with her, is the big banks and the big financial institutions need to start adopting this technology. These big banks, these big institutions are falling behind with technology. They are going to soon get passed by the likes of Amazon and Apple, and they cannot let that happen. The thing that Amazon and Apple have is they have the tech to innovate, and they don't have the same regulations that the big banks have. These big banks and institutions desperately need a technology that will allow them to catch up. And regulation is preventing them from innovating. They're not allowed to deal with cryptocurrency. They're not allowed to deal with blockchain. And even if they were, no one trusts them. No one wants to use a JP Morgan coin. No one wants to use a Goldman Sachs coin because these banks have no trust. At the end of the day, they need a neutral, independent technology that will allow them to move money faster and compete with the fintech players. And that is exactly what Ripple and XRP are doing. They are helping these big banks. They are helping these institutions advance their payment infrastructure so they don't get left in the dust. They absolutely need technology companies like Ripple because Ripple is the only company who is able to help them catch up to players like Apple and Amazon. If these big banks don't start adopting technology like Ripple's offering, they are going to get absolutely out-innovated and destroyed by the fintech system. That is the massive bullish thesis around what Ripple is doing. And there's a lot more to XRP than just Ripple, but it's important to understand that Ripple is using XRP in such a unique and disruptive way. A lot of people are saying Ripple's disrupting the banks. At the end of the day, they're really not. They're saving the banks. And it's absolutely wild to think about it like that, but these banks are going to be left with absolutely no choice but to start adopting Ripple's payment solution and start using XRP. Ripple's not coming in here and saying, okay, we're building a bank and we're going to put all these other banks out of business. No, they're going to the banks and saying, hey, here's a technology that will allow you to catch up with Amazon, that will allow you to catch up with Apple, that will allow you to catch up with Venmo. And this is an absolutely game-changing thesis around exactly what Ripple is doing. And it's completely going under the radar. And it's very important to point out, there are banks that are going to get disrupted by Ripple. There are money transmitters that are going to get disrupted by Ripple and XRP. But at the end of the day, the vast majority are actually going to benefit from this company. They're going to benefit from using XRP. And it's going to make the entire system more fair and create a level playing field. Now, just to show that this is actually happening and these big banks have their eye on Ripple and XRP, I actually wanted to share with you a project Ashley Prosper, one of my favorite XRP community members, is working on right now. She has actually been sending the SEC FOIA request for documents involving communications between JP Morgan, the SEC, involving Ripple and XRP. And when she first told me that she was asking the SEC for these documents, I thought, oh, maybe they'll have a couple, but there's probably not going to be much there. Well, she actually just got a response from the SEC earlier today that there are so many documents that came up as relevant for her FOIA request. The SEC is actually asking nicely for her to narrow the request. Now, I know Ashley Prosper, and I know this is something she is not going to do, but this is extremely fascinating because the way people try to describe it is they try to say, oh, Ripple's just some small fintech player. They don't really have much traction. Meanwhile, we see so many communications between the SEC and JP Morgan that they don't even want to hand over the vast majority of the documents to Ashley Prosper. There seems to be a lot of panic between what JP Morgan is doing and what potentially Ripple could be doing to disrupt their business. Like I said, there are banks that are going to lose out from Ripple getting big, and maybe JP Morgan might be one of them. Or it could be for a completely different reason, but the simple fact that one of the largest banks in the entire world has this many communications with a small fintech player like Ripple shows that there is so much more to this company than many people understand. I'm going to keep you guys posted on exactly what comes out of this, but this is absolutely fascinating and shows that what we are dealing with Ripple and XRP is so much bigger than many people comprehend. This company and this digital asset are going to fully change our financial system, and I think we are a lot closer than many people understand. So I want to finish this video off and share with you some very exciting news. It looks like John Deaton could actually be possibly testifying in front of the Senate involving digital assets. Now this would be absolutely awesome, because let me tell you right now, the last thing the SEC wants is for John Deaton to get in front of the Senate and start talking about what he's doing involving 75,000 XRP holders. Gary Gensler is already under an immense amount of political pressure, and no one is more of an absolute pit bull when it comes to talking about cryptocurrencies than John Deaton. He is so well spoken, and he knows how to attack someone and drive home an issue. When John Deaton talks about how the SEC has hurt XRP holders, he just communicates it in such a strong and consistent and meaningful way. It is going to be so impactful if he can actually get in front of our government and let them know how bad the SEC is hurting investors like you and I. I really do hope John Deaton does get to testify in front of this thing. The senator was specifically asking John Deaton to message him, so I really hope it's going to happen. If it does happen, it looks like it's actually going to take place on April 4th, which I think is tomorrow. So let's keep our eye on this. I would love to see John Deaton up there. I would love to listen to him rip Gary Gensler apart in front of the Senate, because let me tell you, cryptocurrencies really can be a bipartisan way, and I have a feeling even the biggest cryptocurrency skeptics would flip on the SEC if they listen to John Deaton talk for only 15 minutes. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does mean so much. And for now, Mickle out.